Guys, this is going to be a little different than what you're used to. I coached for about 4 years consistently at a program in North Carolina. Before I had gotten there, we had one state champion the year before. Then every year I was there, we had multiple state champions. And it's not that we were the greatest wrestlers ourselves, but it was due to our process in which we trained our kids. Now, you have a lot of coaches that have all these accolades and they get into coaching and they don't know how to explain anything because it has come natural for them. And that's the hardest part, is explaining something that you do so naturally and you're so good at. My first year I was there, we had 4 state champions. Second year we had 3 state champions. Third year we had 3 more. And then the 4th year we had 5. I think that's how it went, yeah. And now, these kids were not recruits. We didn't recruit kids. We didn't bring them in, hey, we got a great program here. You guys come on board and win a state championship. We only had 1 kid who had transferred in before I got there from an outside school. So all these kids were homebred state champions. Very unathletic. When I showed up, I wanted to help and stay in shape, give back a little bit after wrestling at the University of Oklahoma. But when I showed up at this gym, I was surprised at how unathletic these wrestlers were. I didn't see any potential in them at all. But it just goes to show you just never know what you're capable of in anything in life. But putting in the time and having the correct structure means a lot. The question a lot of people get is like, how do you build state champions? And what a lot of people do is they try to find one program that works for them, and they put everybody in this program. People who are slow, people who are really athletic, people who are better at certain moves than others, but they put them all in this cookie-cutter program. We're all doing the same things. We're all running the same mileage. We're all doing the same type of body weight workouts. But that is not going to get you as an individual to the next level. Okay, so a lot of self-analysis has to occur. We approach coaching our kids in a term that's called differentiated assessment. So we're going to differentiate between each person, okay, and train you differently according to your weaknesses and your strengths. But we did that. Now, coaching now, when I coach kids, I tutor them in what they're doing, how to improve it. I tell them, you have to become the person that assesses yourself. Okay, you don't want to hold your future or put your future in the hands of someone else, right? You want to take ownership, and taking ownership is looking at yourself, looking at the things that you're good at, the things that you're bad at, and trying to get better. Always reevaluate yourself. There's a lot of differences between individuals. Genetics, mentality, all these things play into account when you're trying to progress. But the funny thing about wrestling, combat sports, is that you can create your own style based on your body type. Okay? And you don't have to copy other people. You don't have to shoot a double leg the same way that everyone shoots a double leg. You can make it different for you. And that's where wrestling gets fun. That artistic expression comes from you. Okay, I can come out here and show you different ways to hit a double leg. I can show you different ways to get a front headlock. But at the end of the day, you're going to do it your way. You're going to do it your way, and I'm going to do it my way. From the outside, watch yourself wrestling, be like, I always get scored in this position, or he always breaks my position when we're here, or I always lose the leg here. You need to create that dialogue in your head so that you can answer those questions. Don't lean on your coaches, even though you've got an amazing coach, and he's probably got every answer for you. But take the advice and then internalize it. Ask yourself, what do I need to change? What do I need to change? Come in here, play around, get in that position that you don't like or you always get scored in on, and just play around with it. Back to the 10,000 hour rule. A lot of people think that you put the time in, you're going to get the results you want. It's not true. You and I can drill all day the same double leg over and over and over. But if you keep hitting it wrong and drilling it wrong, you're not going to get better at it, right? So creating a structure, a system where you can approach every technique the same. Looking at position, being position oriented, always examining where your position is according to their position. Has anybody heard of the 80-20 rule?
No.
So it's a theory that 80% of your outcome comes from 20% of your effort. Okay? So if we think about any takedown, okay, there are a few things that go into all takedowns. Good back position, good head position, good timing, and a proper setup, right? If you've got all those, you can hit any move. But if you lose one of them, it's going to be harder for you. The best timed double leg with horrible technique has a high percentage of scoring compared to a horribly timed double leg but with perfect technique. The timing is the most important thing when you think about finishing a move or initiating a move. The timing is so important. Come here. If I take a really good double leg on this guy, if I shoot a really good double leg, but I'm from here, okay? My timing's going to be off. I'm going to get to him a whole lot later than I should have. He's going to have time to defend, but I'm going to stay in good position. If you defend me and I shoot from here, show me what that looks like. So my spatial awareness is off. My timing, it messes up your timing as well. Now, if I shoot right when he steps forward, even with a bad double leg, I'm already in. Now, I have to finish from here. But the timing got me there. Okay, now position and timing improve upon each other. So if you've got good timing, which is something that I had really good timing, but I had to work on my position. So when I was drilling, I could get in on anybody, but my position was bad. So I had to constantly improve my position and train myself with better habits. Keeping my head up, my back straight, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Any shot that you guys hit can be hit with horrible technique. As long as the timing's there, you can get that move. You can score. Happens all the time. You get somebody thinking that you're going to do a low single, you're going to shoot a low single, and you snap him down for a front headlock. It doesn't have to be the greatest front headlock, but as long as he's thinking something else, you'll catch it. It's called making tricks. People want to keep up with the latest trends in wrestling. Okay, they come in and out of season, right? But the things that stay are technique, position, timing. Those things will always stay. So if the arms race of trying to keep up with all the new moves, it's not that important. If you've got one move and you perfect the technique involved in it, you can hit it on anybody. Look at Jordan Burroughs. Now, every once in a while he'll do another move, but he's usually taking everybody down with the double leg, right? The most basic move in wrestling, double leg. But his double leg is so much different than any football player's tackle, right? It's so much more technically sound. His timing is on another level, and his positioning is incomparable. He does not give up the position. So when you're approaching your moves, the moves that you like, think of it that way. Either I can make this look really sloppy, where I can really finesse this thing. I can get the timing right. I can work on my body position. I can work on tricking him to think I'm doing this, but then do that. That's where you score. It's always confusing. When you get scored on, how many times is it because you saw it coming and you didn't defend properly? Or was it that he tricked you and you didn't see it coming? There's only two ways to get scored on. And that's them. Either he tricks you, you think he's doing something else, and he gets you, or there's nothing that you can do, and it's just you've got bad position. But the point is, you want to trick everybody you wrestle with, but only use a few moves. And if you think about it, you only need a takedown and a stand-up to win a match. Now, I know that might be hard to understand, but think about it this way. Match starts on your feet, okay? You're battling for a takedown, right? Whoever gets the takedown scores, okay? Now, let's say you get on top. Do you have to stay there? No. You can let him go. If you get on bottom, can you stay there? No. He's going to work. He's going to try to score on you. So all you need to do is get away. So all you need is to stand up. One takedown, one stand up, and you can be a state champion. Watch, if you want to be a state champion, right, which is the goal, you know, the highest level, why you get into the sport, right? You admire that competition and being number one, right? Look at those matches. What do? They score a takedown, and if they're on bottom, they stand up. It's very simple. Don't complicate the sport. Very simple. There's something that's called the zone of proximal development. Okay, so if you've ever been in class, right, and the teacher's explaining something, and you get it, right? You're like, oh, I can do this. Yeah, all right, shut your mouth. Let me do my work. And then you come across a problem. You're like, I don't know what to do. She just went over it, but now I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing. What you want to do is create a system for yourself, a system of questions and answers for any situation that you're in, so that you can teach yourself. That's where true development comes. That's where you get better, that's where you get better, that's where you get better. Is when you take it into your own hands and you say, look, I'm not getting this move, I'm always getting out of position, why am I in a bad position? The dialogue inside your head is the most important thing in wrestling. It's not your body, because the mind controls the body. Have you ever seen Ben Askren wrestle? One of the most uncoordinated, unathletic wrestlers to be that good. But what he did was he thought about every technique, all his positions. I mean, there's a lot of things. If you've ever seen Ben Askren shoot a double leg, it's slow, there's no power behind it, there's no explosion, but he's got good timing. He's got a good understanding of spatial awareness, the distance between him and his opponent, and how he can close that distance, and how he can lock his opponent down. That's all you need to know. Don't worry, I'm not as fast as this person, I'm not as athletic, explosive, as strong as this person. There's always a way around that in wrestling. In jiu-jitsu, combat sports, there's always a way around it, and it's called timing and position. Now, let me ask you a question. How can you get scored on? We want to win, right? But let's figure out how can we lose. How do you lose? Just think about it. What do you think? What's that? You get pinned, right? There's two ways to lose, right? You either get pinned or you lose by 1 point or more, right? Same thing for winning. You either pin someone or you win by 1 point. It's very simple. You can battle on your feet the whole match, battle on top and bottom the whole match, no points. Last period, you're down. You get a stand up. Well, you got 1 point, he's got 0. That's all you need. That's how you win. But when someone takes you down, what happens? You either put yourself in bad position or your opponent puts you in bad position. That's the only way you can get taken down. So if you approach your wrestling with that mindset of structural integrity, always being mindful of your position in all situations, even your stance, well then in theory, someone can't get you out of position, right? If you're always battling in that for good position, it's going to be harder for him to do. So if you don't want to get scored on, you've got to start practicing position. Now, it's very interesting when I bring that up because people want to drill. You want to shoot takedowns all the time, But what happens when you don't get all your shots, right? He defends every shot, and then he takes you down. What were all those shots good for? If you get taken down, your position is bad. A lot of people will do something their entire lives and never ask themselves why they're doing it. Or how can I improve this? They'll just show up, put the time in, and leave. Now, that's one way of going about things in life. But if you really want to make the best of the situation, or get the best out of yourself, you have to ask yourself the hard questions. Why am I taking so many shots? That's a question that I ask a lot of kids. Why are you taking so many shots? And they don't know. But I find that the main reason for people taking lots of shots is anxiety. When you're constantly thinking, if I don't shoot, he's going to shoot. Well, that causes a lot of anxiety. You overcommit. You attack way too much. You end up gassing yourself out and getting taken down. If you can get to a point in your head where you're confident in your defense, that you don't have to force takedowns, you'll be of sound mind, you'll be calm when you're wrestling, you won't get excited, just nervous, oh my God. If you can create a good system of defense, you only need 1 shot. You let him tire himself out. A lot of these things are what we don't think about. A lot of coaches will talk about an attack style offense, attack style wrestling. There's a lot of people that do that. But the problem with that is the moment that your opponent defends all your shots, you get this huge adrenaline dump. There's nothing else for you to do. And when were you drilling your defense? When do you practice defending? When do you let somebody get on a leg at practice and you defend? Compared to the amount of times that you drill your takedowns, maybe 5% of the time you're drilling defense. But at the end of the day, we just said, to get taken down, you've got to put yourself in bad position, or your opponent has to put you in bad position. If you've worked on your defense, your position's going to be there. So he can. It's really simple. Just like the latest pop singer that comes out, right? Who's a pop singer now?
J. Cole.
J. Cole. He's old, isn't he?
Who is that?
Anyways, he's not 21. But anyways, every new artist, quote unquote, rapper, pop star, they come out. They've got their own style of fashion, their own way of rapping, their own way of singing songs or something. They're expressing themselves. And what you need to do is approach wrestling with that mindset. With, hey, this is my stage to perform. So if I'm going to perform, I might as well do it the way I want to do it. You want to take that ownership, look at your wrestling, look at other great wrestlers and say, I can take that, put it over here. I'll take Jordan Burroughs' double leg, bring it over here. I'll take Brent Metcalf's front headlock, I'll bring it over here. Start pulling from people that you admire, good wrestlers. Create some moves that you like to do that fit who you are. And start changing them, forming them, molding them to fit you. That's what's so fun about wrestling. None of the shots I ever shot were how I was taught. Everything I did, I changed it up for me. And that's what you have to do. There's a term in philosophy called epistemology. It's a branch of philosophy. And it deals with how we come to know things, how we learn. Okay? And there's a topic called subsidiary focal integration. I know it's a fancy word. It just makes you look smart, even though I'm not that smart, but I say it a lot. What it means is, let's take for example riding a bike. Okay, it's hard to explain all the things that go into riding a bike: balance, pedaling, keeping your eye on where you're going, not getting distracted by dogs. But when somebody lets you know that you can go to the mall and hang out with your friends if you can just ride your bike from here to there, you're going to figure out how to do it, right? So it's that desire for possibilities that opens up your mind to receive information and trial and error and troubleshoot as you ride your bike to the mall. You figure it out, right? Because you want the end result so badly. That's how you need to approach wrestling. Okay, if you can look at wrestling as this opportunity to express yourself freely, change moves. I see Jordan Burroughs double leg, but you know what? I'm going to do it differently. If you can build that confidence inside of yourself to go out and change things, you're going to progress a lot faster than people that just come to practice and do what everybody else is doing. It all starts in your head. You've got to have a vision of something to work towards. For me, I grew up idolizing Kel Sanderson. Coach knows him. He's now the coach at Penn State, right? I recorded all his college wrestling matches when they would come on TV on a VHS tape, which is old. But I would record them all, and I would watch them every day when I woke up. You guys have YouTube now, so that's easy. I watched them every day when I woke up before school. And when I came home before practice, I would watch it again. And then I'd go to practice and I'd try to mimic what he was doing. And I could never do what he was doing, but I created my own version of it. Okay? And then I started beating people. I started beating people that were way better than me. But it was because I was doing things not the traditional way. Okay? If someone teaches you double legs one way, and most people know a double leg one way, and then you hit a double leg a very different way, you're going to catch them off guard. And that's how you allow yourself to succeed in a wrestling match. Is to always trick your opponent and make him think you're doing something else. There's a term in critical theory, which is just critiquing literature, it's called mimesis. Okay, so it's mimicking reality. It's what artists do when they create paintings. If I were to, so right there, that's a mimesis. Mimesis, an artist's representation of reality. Okay, it's not exactly the way it is, right? Only a photograph could create or recreate reality exactly the way it is, and even it's a little skewed, right? But that was that artist's version of wrestling. And his viewpoints are clearly displayed with that guy. Like look at this one right here. The guy in the red singlet, his back's bent, he's got really bad position, right? But he is fighting. He's fighting. He's on that back heel and he's picking up. That's a position you get in wrestling. And that's an idea. When you think of wrestling, you think of the bad positions you get in, right? That's that artist's remembrance of when he wrestled. So when you're mimicking people, you got to take into account that by mimicking people, you can represent what they do, but in your own way. Okay? It's a very easy idea to get in your head, but applying it is where you have to take it upon yourself to do. I only shot 2 shots when I was in high school, but I got second in the state. I was 59-0, and I lost my finals match. Okay. Now, everybody else that was in my weight division in the state had a lot of moves that they did, but I didn't want to do that. I really wanted to hone in on the few moves that I was really good at, and so I had to create my own style. Now, when it comes to styles, a lot of people don't believe in styles, even though they're true. Bruce Lee was a big proponent on creating a style without a style, so that you can be freely open to express yourself in other ways and not be restricted. My only argument is styles are created by factors that you have no control over sometimes. Your body type is a big factor on your style. If Jordan Burroughs wasn't as fast as he was, he probably wouldn't be doing blast doubles. You know, he'd probably be wrestling like Ben Askren. Your mentality is another factor. A lot of people can push harder than others, can push themselves mentally harder than others, and that comes out and it's expressed in the style that they choose when they're wrestling. I was always very mentally strong. I always was able to push in practice harder than a lot of my other teammates. So my style was very high-paced. Was that the best thing for me? Maybe not. When I got out of college, I realized that wrestling a slower pace and a more defensive style was better for my mind, because that's how I was thinking. But when I was in high school, I allowed my anxiety to take over my wrestling style. I was always afraid of someone shooting on me because I never practiced defense. So I was always shooting. I was always attacking, killing myself. My cardio, oh my God, I remember my junior year, I went to the doctor and I got sick. My resting heart rate was in the 40s. And it's just, that's a pretty good resting heart rate. But that doesn't mean that you have to go balls to the wall when you're wrestling. That means, hey, I've got this much gas in the tank, but I'm going to preserve it. I'm going to enjoy this wrestling match and take every moment for what it is and not rush it. I think a lot of times we rush our matches and we overcommit and we get ourselves in a bad position and we can't defend from there, and then we get scored on. It's all because we're anxious. And then there's also an understanding of rhythm. Some people are more rhythmically inclined than others. It's usually the guys who can dance who can figure out wrestling a little quicker than others. And it's due to understanding of rhythm and time and timing. I could dance, and I never made that correlation between my understanding of space or spatial recognition and timing. But you can improve your timing. You can improve your spatial awareness, but you've got to be cognizant. You've got to tell yourself, okay, I know I want to hit this move, but the space between us is the most important thing, and the timing that I'm going to attack with. Okay? Whenever someone fakes you out in a wrestling match and scores on you, and then you get back on your feet and they do it again, that's frustrating, right? You know how easy it is for that other person? It's so easy when you trick people. It's so easy when you set up traps for people. And and you make them do what you want to do. Now that's easy. What's hard is just shooting and shooting and shooting and attacking. Like, that's hard. Why do you want to do that to yourself? Like, at the end of the day, if you could win by making it easier, would you do that, or would you try to make it harder for yourself? Let's take, for example, the football tackle and the Jordan Burroughs blast double. Okay? If you ever watch football, you see somebody tackle somebody, right? It looks a whole lot different than Jordan Burroughs' blast double, right? But it accomplished the same thing, right? It took him down. The football tackle would be effective, right? Because it accomplished the goal. All right, I got him down, right? Jordan Burroughs' blast double leg would be effective, but also efficient because of all the technical aspects of his double leg that are in tune and allow him to hit that repetitively on so many high-level wrestlers. Now, for a double leg, there are, like I've said before, there are concepts such as spatial awareness, timing, and position. Okay? And if you've got that, if you've got the most important factors of a move down, you've created an efficient process for yourself. And that's the most important thing. I mean, and that's the same thing as just shooting a double leg, shooting a double leg, shooting a double leg with no setup. There's no efficiency there at all. If he gets tired by the third period and you're still shooting double legs, you might take him down. But you're tired, he's tired, you get him down. Why not take an efficient double leg? Why not make it more efficient for yourself so that you can save energy, control the match, and do things when you want to do them instead of when your opponent tells you to. Right? You always want to approach your wrestling style and ask yourself, okay, I get this move a lot, and I'm getting the takedown, but how can I make this efficient? How can I make this even easier for myself? You know, it's like, if I wanted to walk to that camera, I could do this, and I can come to the camera, right? That was effective. I did it. I made it there. Or I can just do this. A beeline straight for the camera. That's what I mean by effective and efficient. You can come in here and train your butt off and go hard every day and go home and dream, I want to be a state champion. But if you're not thinking in practice, and if you're not thinking outside of practice about making your style more efficient and easier, you're not going to progress as fast as you would want. And that's what I did at the school where I was coaching at. I made those kids answer those questions every day. We came in. We talked about what was going on. When you hit your double leg, are you keeping your back straight? Are you thinking about your position? Oh, no, I forgot about it. I wanted to wrestle. I want to get in there and just get on the legs and just throw them around. Okay, that's great. That's a great mindset. But now start tightening it up, making it closer to a very unified idea. Now, I know I haven't showed any technique, and you guys are like, oh my God, this guy has never wrestled in his life. I'm going to give you an idea, another idea. I'm not going to show you the technique. I know you want it, but you're not getting it. The idea of only having 3 moves and actually having 27 moves. Okay? A probability of 3 is what I call it. If you've got 3 moves, okay, and you shuffle them around in different scenarios, different series of combination, you've actually got 27 different attacks. Let's say I've got a high crotch, a double leg, and a front headlock. All right? Come here. I can either shoot the high crotch. If I don't get it, I'll go for the double. If I don't get it, I'll snap him down to a front headlock. Okay? Let's do that. Okay? I shoot the high crotch. I shoot my double. I be here, I got my front head. Okay? Let's change it up. I'll go double leg first. Show the double leg here. High rope. My front headlock. That's 2. Front headlock again, high crotch. Oh. That's 3 different series, 3 different combos with only 3 moves. There's 27 total. Okay? You can do 3 high crotches in a row, 3 double legs in a row. You can do 2 high crotches and 1 double leg. That's how you want to think about wrestling. That's how you want to think about wrestling. Okay? Now, the only thing that would hinder you in that scenario is your timing and your setups. Okay? Somebody can know that you're doing 3 moves. This guy, hey man, I heard he's only got 3 moves. Right? You kind of get scared. Oh man, yeah, that is true. I only have 3 moves. But if you control the timing, he can't read your mind. That's the funny thing about wrestling is if you adopt, this is what I used to coach and teach, a con artist mentality. Anybody know what a con artist is? So a con artist is a confidence man. He comes up to you, he makes you feel good about yourself. Oh, you're looking good today. You've been working out. Got some big muscles. Oh man, can you write me a program? I'd love to get biceps that big. Yeah. Oh yeah, you do that. You do that. Oh man. How about you come over? We'll talk. And then they steal your money. Right? That's a con artist. Okay. There's a lot of con artists. And in wrestling, that's what you want to be. You want to make your opponent feel so comfortable with letting his guard down that right when he does it, that's when you score. That makes wrestling so much easier instead of fighting someone. Right? You're trying to hold somebody down. Why not make them think you're going to grab their ankle and then just chop their arm? Wrestling's very simple. I know I keep saying that, but it's very simple. A lot of people want the heavens to open up and for God to say something to make everything so much easier, but it's already easy. Just stop complicating. A lot of things in life are that way. Wrestling is a good way of seeing the reality of that. What's the most important thing in wrestling? Okay. It's always a hard debate, but there are a few things. I think I mentioned position, timing, and spatial awareness. Those 3 things improve upon each other. If you can understand spatial awareness, how far you are, how far you need to be from your opponent to get your shot off, then your timing's going to get better. And if you can always get in, well then your positioning is going to get better because you're going to have to work on that. So they feed off each other. But you have one out of place, the other ones might not be sufficient to allow you to score. Okay, and that's in every situation in wrestling. Timing, spatial awareness, and position. Now, with defense, you have to keep your mindset as if you are a martial artist. Okay? A self-defense type of mindset is what a lot of wrestlers don't have. Okay? If you were to get into a fight, okay, what would you do? And it's a big question. There's a lot of things you can do, but what are the concepts that you want to nail in a fight? In a fight, you want to stop him from doing what he wants to do, right? And you want to do what you want to do, right? You want to stop someone from doing what they want to do, you've got to get them out of position, right? So that you can get better position. So it's always a battle of position, right? In everything. That's how you want to approach wrestling. Self-defense. I'm going to do the least possible moving or action that I need to do to get my result. Because if I tire myself out in a street fight, when I can't be like, I'm done, ref. You know, he wins. And it's like, no. You got to preserve your energy. You've got to be efficient and economical with your movements. At this age, and I was there, you can go all day. You can train all day. And you don't realize that sometimes you might be pushing yourself in a match too hard. In practice, push yourself all you want. Build that endurance, get your strength up. But in a match, you need to look at it as a fight to the death. Okay, when I tell kids that, they're like, oh, okay, I'll just stab them in the eye. Well, yeah, but my point is, that concept of stabbing someone in the eye, that stops a fight immediately. That's how you want to wrestle. What will negate anybody's movement or attacks on their feet? Good defense, right? Good defense will stop an attack, right? If he can't harm you, if he can't take you down, well, then he's not going to score. If he's not going to score, he can't win. Now, all you need to do is get one takedown. It's not hard. I know I keep harping on it. But if you can approach every match. When I came in the other day and I wrestled you, okay, and I made you do what I wanted you to do, it was so frustrating to you because you're like, man, I knew he was going to do that. He just showed me. And then you wrestled and you were thinking, and you did it to your teammate. And that's what you want. You want to make really good wrestlers confused, because that's how you score. Always think of creating new tricks for the moves that you have. You want to let someone think that they can attack you and be successful. And if you've got the counter to their attack, you're going to score. A lot of people don't understand that. All you need to do is be one step ahead. That's it. If you're always one step ahead of somebody, they can never get ahead of you. If I'm baiting him to grab this leg, right? And I'm doing everything I can to get him to grab this leg. Everything. Just, I'll start reaching. He'll grab it. I give him so many opportunities to grab the leg, he'll grab the leg. And if I have a defense in my head, a counterattack, to that, I'll go to it way quicker than he can counter my counter. I'm just waiting, I'm waiting, just grab the leg, boom! And if you set him up in a way that he does what you want him to do, you'll be a step ahead. Okay? That's all you need to do. Like when you think about your shot, you need to think about, where do you want him to step? If you're going to shoot on his front leg, you need him to step forward, right? So how are you going to make him step forward? There's different ways. Hand fighting, moving your feet, getting him to move his feet. If you think about it that way, it'll make your game so much easier. You'll see openings in people all the time. A lot of people just take steps and they don't even know why they're taking steps. Like, okay, I saw somebody move their arms like this, so I'm going to do it. You know, and people get into their own rhythms. If you can break that rhythm on the offbeat, boom, boom, that's your shot. Right when they step. If you can catch that rhythm and move with them, get it on the half beat, that's how you get a takedown. I could do that to you all day and not get tired. But you're a good wrestler. That's my point. I don't want to wrestle you head on. Why would I do that? I don't want to get tired. You've got a gas tank that can go all day. When you get older, you start looking at wrestling in a way to make it easier for yourself. And when you do that, it's funny, but getting old simplifies things. And so if you can learn anything from someone older than you, it's probably going to be given to you in a way that's going to make it easier for you. So always keep your ear open for your coaches, anybody who's wrestled in the past. Because the longer you think about something, the more tricks you come up with, the more efficient you become. I've always considered offense as the only offense, right? But defense is an offense. I know that doesn't make any sense. Let me explain. If you defend, right, you're keeping good position, right? If you're attacking, you're keeping good position, right? Right? Okay. How do you score? By having good position. Okay. If you defend in good position, you're only allowing, your defense has now become a scoring opportunity. Because if someone can't break your defense, they're going to break your position. You just got to make them flustered. Get them anxious. Defend some shots. Push them around. Stay in good position. When they shoot, defend. Stand them back up. All right, let's go again. Shoot again. That's going to mess somebody up. That's going to get them really messed up in the head. And that's what you want to do. Then, they're going to over-commit. You're like, all right, you want me to shoot? And they go too hard, and that's your chance to attack. It's a mind game. Make it easier on yourself. Because the moment you meet somebody head to head, you shoot, he shoots, you shoot, he shoots. Well, then now you guys are having way too much fun. You can't stop. Always, it's funny, if you guys watch the UFC, you guys probably do, right? But Conor McGregor, you guys know Conor McGregor? Okay. He flusters people way more than anybody else. Right? He makes them overcommit. Okay, his best shot is his counter left hand. Okay? Now, for him to get that shot off, he's got to make his opponent attack. So he's going to say whatever he wants to say to upset you so that you can try to hit it. Because he knows when you throw, he's going to counter. Now, he's got good offense, but his counter is his most efficient punch or attack. His left-hand counter. He's knocked out a few people with that. Jose Aldo was that. He knocked out, what was it, 13 seconds, Coach? Yeah, something like that, 13, 17 seconds. One shot, but he set it up with offense. But that was his defense. Half shots or half attacks are how you set up your defense and even your full shots. Okay, so when I came the other day, I was showing half shots. Come here. If I take a half shot on him, it's going to look like this. I'm not going to fully commit to it. But in the process of taking this half shot, he's got to react. Okay? I'm anticipating the reaction. I'm staying one step ahead. That's it. Just one step. He's going to post. I'm going to come right here. Boom. That's all I want. But a lot of people take their first shot with 100% of everything inside of them. Right here. All right. Well, that didn't work. Let's start back on our feet. You don't get a second chance, right? So why take a horrible shot, get yourself in a bad position, and let him score? Don't do that. Just stay one step ahead. Take your half shot, boom. Wait for the counter, and then counter him. It makes the score so much easier. Half shots, feints, and full shots. If we're here, I make everything look the same. My full shot, my half shot, and my feint. They all look the same. He doesn't know what's going to happen. I'm here, I fake it. I take a half shot. I'm here, I take a full shot. They all look the same. And if I go back and forth between my feint, my half shot, and my full shot, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what I'm doing. And so he's going to overcommit on something. And I'm waiting for it. The moment I get him moving, I pull his head down. He's moving. I'm moving around. I take a full shot, okay? And he counters all the way out. I tighten it again. Remember the probability of 3? You got 3 movements, cycle between all 3 of them. Go back and forth. Change up the timing in between. I'm right here. I take it. See how I switched up the timing? He was waiting for it. He wanted the counter. But I just changed up the timing. That's all you have to do. That was only 1 move. If you got 3 moves, wow, I mean, you got a lot of options. That's how you want to think about it. A lot of people enjoyed the conversation of wrestling. I get in on a shot, he counters me, I counter him, we scramble, we roll out of bounds, we start over. We're just scrambling machines. Done with it. Why make it easy? Why make it hard when you can make it easy? If you work on your timing, the anticipation for the scramble will always, there's an anticipation for the scramble that locks you in on that idea. Okay? A lot of people, when they're wrestling, they want you to shoot. So they can sit in the corner and start scrambling, right? But if you do something contrary to what they want, you can completely bypass the scramble and just get an easy takedown. And that would be a whole lot better than like scrambling, line bounds, doing it again, coming back to the middle, starting over, doing it again. Like, oh, we went the whole first period and did nothing but scramble. Nobody scored. It was a dog fight. No, why do that? Why do that? Why not have a perfectly timed, technically superior blast double that works 100% of the time and eliminates all scrambles? Why not have that? I know it's beautiful to watch scrambling, and I think that's what we get. We fall in love with, but you don't have to do it. Okay? To bypass that, you need to work on your position. Okay? There's always something hanging out. When you shoot the high crotch, your leg's out here, that's what he wants to grab. Well, what if you shot a high crotch and tucked it in? Well, now he can't sit in the corner and you're 1 step ahead. You just put a block in between him and what he wants to do. He sits here. He's like, well, where's the leg at? And by that time, you're 1 step ahead. You can finish your shot. Always think about eliminating any type of scramble situation when you're wrestling. And the way to do that is correct your positioning all the time. Every time you take a shot, every time you drill, you should be thinking about changing that. I gotta change it. I gotta make it more efficient. I gotta make this easy. I want to drill like I'm walking through the park. I want to make this so easy. I don't want to go to that leg. I want to pull that leg to me. And then you get to a point where I just want to make him think he needs to step there. I don't even want to pull him anymore. I'm tired of that. That's how I wrestle. I'm just like, I don't even want to pull you here. I'm going to make you think that you need to be there. When you're drilling, always think defense. If you think defense, your offense will get better. I spent my entire life never learning anything about defense except a sprawl. And it reflected in my offense, in my style. Like I said, I was always shooting. I was never allowing someone to lock up with me and stop me from moving. So I just kept shooting. Now, if I got shot in on, he'd score. I had no defense. When I got to college, I learned defense. And it improved all my offensive attacks because I now knew what was getting me scored on. And now I was like, okay, I need to get him in that position. If that makes any sense. If you realize that when somebody shoots in on you and you don't get the proper grip, the whizzer or the wrist control that you want, and he takes you down, if you can realize that, when you shoot your double leg, you know what he's looking for, right? So just move your hand placement. If somebody's used to someone, that's what we say all the time, don't finish on the hip, right? Don't go up to the hip, stay at the knee or the ankle. If you change it up on somebody and they're going for the hip and your hand's not there, it's on the knee, you're just one step ahead. Little things like that you want to think of every time you shoot a double leg. You want to get it, come here. This is how you want to drill a double leg. I'm going to shoot double leg on him, okay, moving. Set, clear, shoot my double leg here, and sit. Alright, get your grips, get your whizzer, get your control here, okay. Set right here. You see what this does? I'm losing a little bit. Oh, you went for my foot, you see that? You went for my foot, okay. Let me reposition that here, okay. Work on my head. Alright, I go too high. He's gonna sit, go back up. From here, we're looping around. Go up here. He grabs my hand. That's how you want to drill. Okay? You can sit down. Thanks. Because that's where you get stuck, right? Most times when you get in on double leg and you don't score, right when you make contact is when you get stuffed, right? That's where you want to stay. You want to sit in there. I call it rolling in the position. We're just going to stay here. I'm going to do everything over the top. I'm going to sit on my butt. I'm going to sit like this. I'm going to see how this feels. Okay, that's not working out. I'll get up here. I'll get on 2 knees. I'll push around. I'll reach through. I'll step through. I'll go down to an ankle. I'll come up. You want to roll in the situation. You know, if you give somebody enough space and they're really athletic, they'll explode out, right? If you can eliminate that space as much as you can and get real tight in there, in jiu-jitsu, that's what we do all the time. You want to get as tight as you can and move only a little bit. Because the more movement, the more space. And now he can defend and get out. You want to eliminate that space. The most important thing in wrestling is taking it upon yourself, creating an ownership mentality of your style of wrestling. But to always question why these positions work and why they don't work when you're doing it. When you're in on a double leg, sit there and think about it. Enjoy the dialogue. Because wrestling is a conversation. If I do something to you, you're going to respond. You're either going to defend or attack, right? So all I have to do is figure out the conversation. If I make you attack me, well then now I know what you're doing. I'm one step ahead, and I can enjoy the process. Wrestling is like an argument, okay? We could draw out the argument, we can argue all day, like we do with our parents. Just a long argument, it never ends. Or, you can just say, hey, look, this is how I'm doing it, and then walk away. Right? When you tell somebody in class, when you tell your teacher, now don't do this, but if you want to go to the restroom, right, you ask, hey, I kind of drank a lot of water at lunch, I kind of got to go, like my bladder's really small, my doctor told me that, and I've always had a bladder problem, you think I can go to the bathroom? She's going to be like, well, yeah, I guess, God. But if you just say, hey, can I use the restroom? Yeah, go ahead. Why not do that? A lot of that has to do with anxiety. Because you want her to believe you. If you believe yourself, other people will. Right? If you walk around with a certain confidence in what you say, people will believe you. Okay? Now, translating that to wrestling, when you step on the mat and your opponent's in front of you, if you can present yourself as someone who knows what they're doing and who has conviction and really believes that their shot is better than your shot, it'll come out in more ways than one. The way you walk to the mat. I used to like this. I would act like I was so bored, and it would relax the other guy. I used to always notice it. They'd be warming up, and I'd be like, ready? I did not let him know how anxious I was inside. Okay? Now he looks at me and he's like, dude, this guy's just chilling over there. Well, I gotta warm myself up. I gotta get ready. He must know something I don't. What is it about that guy? Has he been watching me wrestle? Has he been scouting me? Oh my God! And you go run over to your coach. Hey, does he know who I am? Like, have we wrestled the same people? Like, he's not even warmed up. Like, stuff like that. But it's by how you present yourself. And when you present yourself that way, your coach will tell you. You start believing. You start believing it. And when you believe that you're competent and that you can do what you're here to do because you do it every day in practice, you'll start believing that. You'll start presenting that to the world. And whoever you wrestle, they'll get it. They'll see it on your face. Conviction is so important. If you go out there and you're like, the first year guys, when they start wrestling, is that the line? Okay. My foot on? Okay, it's on the line. Shake hands. You already know where they're at right here. And you know where they are physically. So exude confidence. Be convicted in your abilities. Believe in your abilities. And the more belief you have, the more attention you'll give to your wrestling. When you come here, it'll be like, you know what? I'm good at this. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to take this upon myself. Enjoy the process. I'm going to enjoy getting taken down at practice because now I'll know what not to do. You should never get upset when you lose in practice. When somebody gets better position than you in practice, you should always laugh and tell yourself, all right, well, I know what to do now. Sucks to be you, because I'm coming again. That's how you have to approach wrestling. Because if you really do take it this serious, it becomes fun in a weird way. But that's it, guys. Always enjoy the people you're around and your coaches, because they're there because they care about you. Maybe not that guy. But thanks, guys. That's it. I know it's not the regular practice, but this type of stuff changes all the practices you have after this. Sometimes you have to be slapped with a good book or a good speech and not move your body so that you don't use your body like you're used to. You're forcing your mind to think. And so that now when you do use your body tomorrow or the next day, you've got a whole new perspective to approach the sport with. Oh! You think she's got jokes? You're doing good, Ezzy.
That season they have years where they don't go all those happens like walks and you're supposed to balance on it. Also, always thinking about the same. And then the foot, right? Oh, that's like right here. I still want
probably right into it. Okay? So do that real slow. Don't put your head down there. So that it's like, you go back to the head.
We hopped at the train Sunday. Just wants to, you want to do this, Sam?
That's it. That's it. Now, that can also turn into okay? Same move,
Hey, I
right?
thought you were going to go to the baby for a little time and just take it from the van. And then you're around to hold it up.
Right? You're just falling into it.
And you go,
Falling step.
you ever run some power? And then when
You fall into it, put all your weight together. That's
That's
the same concept as this.
Johnny began to learn something. Is he
Fall into it. Just fall down.
Okay, this is supposed to hold you up?
I was in the background. We got Johnny for a little bit. I'll be in the back. Let's send over.
With what I realized.
You're like the guy.
You want to make that look as real as possible. Yeah, so however you do that,
I'm just
you want to do, that's it. Yeah. The same motion.
And then that was back.
Yeah, yeah. So, something else, like, a lot of people will do that, they'll be used to it, right? You'll be used to it, right? Now you're anticipating over it. Keeping on my hand. If he raises his hand again, I'm gonna pull away.
Yeah, like that. Here it comes.
There you go, there you go. All right, and when you want me to go, let me go. I'm scared.
Hard man. You're going to go hard man.
See how smooth that was?
Get your hand down. Tell you what.
Attack.
Yeah, see the close that down. Push it back.
Come on!
Yes.
Gotta get rid of it.
Man, you're not doing it.
Good, Angelica. Stay low. Stay low. Good. Nice. Circle around a little bit. Yes.
That's a better position. Oh, right.
Right hand.
You got to do it now. So just make it move. Stay right there, stay right there, don't move.
Good, Angelica.
Yeah.
All right, get into a little circle and try to push each other out.
Ooh, sumo.
Ready?
I'm like, come on, look here.
Well, as you done, good with one hand for spatial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's simple here.
Yeah.
When you reach, don't be like,
I didn't go get my glasses today, but.
Go.
you can, you just wait. See what he does.
Dude. You got it my back.
No, yeah, actually got it.
But this hand is all for wrist control. So you can and you're going to get that. Your feet
Hey, good stance, Isaac. Good. Look at that. Second order.
Yeah, you should know that. You need to be square.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Now, if I try to come this way, you can stand there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Make a little baby frame and put it instead.
My college coach used to do that.
Arms good. Arms good.
It's good. It's like, I want you to remember how frustrating it was.
So you do it again.
Yeah, so you try everything you can to not get in that position again. So that you can do what's up. Do you know what I mean? This back hand or this back hand? That's what this is for.
I know you.
That's
That's how I did it.
I think what's going to happen, your front hand. That's the very top.
Yes. Let's go.
Always reach all back. So you're not reaching, you shot. I got another one.
And you go there.
That's one just something all
Hey, lock your hand. Doubles on. Good.
That was it, that was your move. That was your shot. Yeah. Whatever. Just slide right out.
Okay, guys. Okay, go. Yes.
That's all I can
I'll do it.
do.
Keep your head up.
It's like, okay, I got that rhythm already.
10 minutes.
Keep that up. If I keep doing that to you, you're gonna catch it. You're gonna be late, right? I just want to say,
Every time you do that, that's your way.
I want to make you work. Get up. That's how I'm telling myself. Am I happy? Get up. This one. This one. What are you gonna do? I got better position? What are you gonna do? I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm gonna let you go. You don't know me. You're gonna take my time.
Talk on for a while.
That's under the ring.
I got it there.
I got it there.
I was gonna grab that foot. Maybe we get something out of that. Here we go. The timing is so off. That's how you get your shot.
I also like the last time of these.
At that level, you can be successful without changing the because you just become a machine. Somebody just wait. You got it. Wait. It's like a dance. I'll put the weight over.
Can you put your other arm in that while you go chest to chest with him?
Oh yeah. That's it.
That's the economics.
You can let that take off.
Yeah.
Stay on. Got it.
I caught you in between standing up
Just
and being down.
It's fine.
I didn't wait for you to stand up completely. You were here, I attacked right when you were here. Instead of waiting.
Take over to the
Yes.
front for a little bit.
John, back on the
Get the advice.
Yeah. And then, so you take the half shot, and I'm coming up, and you're coming up. You stop, and we're not.
Remember what they said? Slow down. Yeah. Yes. And
You're coming up, and you're going to
I was trying to get better position.
That's not that way. Come back.
Better position. Better position.
Start coming up. Oh my God. You see how deep you got? You see how deep you got? That was easy, wasn't it?
Okay.
You changed up the time. It's a whole lot easier. You're like already out.
Use what you already have, Sam. Use what you already have. Yeah.
Ain't no time to do.
I didn't.
So you're on top of your
Cross elbow. Like if you do it. The teacher vomited it. So that way you can just push the ball.
Get your space. Now take your head up.
So, like, this?
Okay, you take your head out to weight on me, okay? Hang on me. Okay. Now start coming up. That's it right there. Right up. Whichever one pops up. Yeah. You just be watching. Because you know what Henry did. He does it. Right? You just wait for whatever foot goes up. I'm here. That's all. A lot of times that's how Jordan Burroughs gets his double leg. Is off the bad first shot.
They're flat, so go flat.
Go back.
So it's the half. We're gonna bring your thumb
He'll catch him on the half beat. Between the skin, between here, he'll get to here and shoot. And then we'll get on and follow the step. You just lean.
Head up, Sam. Head up. Keep on the line.
I just dropped him out. Let's see what's available.
all your body is.
You've got so many options, but you keep yourself at this. Instead of getting here. Good. Now. I want to make my takedowns very easy. So if I get your hands, if I'm here, it's easy. See what I mean? Right. What's up?
We got this like line of time.
Yes. You see how you kept it there? You keep your hand like that. You force me to stand up. And when I'm going against you, and you let go when you want to let go, I'll stand straight up.
Go backwards.
You control it. Right here. Let go. Now.
Don't let it ready. Go flat. Stretch your body out.
That is your try. Just go with it.
Grab this leg.
There you
There you go. Turn your shoes up from last night. You turn your shoes, lift up in.
Alright, now let's try to change everything together. So from the
See how heavy you put it inside?
down.
So when you lock up, you do this.
Show it.
If you don't have your elbow down, it's going to be really Take
Well, already.
The first part, whatever you guys
Even if you try out, yeah, slide off or leave it in contact.
No, go into that.
Oh, right. Okay. So,
See that? See that? You're doing it. That's mindset. I'm not letting you work his time. Yeah, so if I go, yeah, there you go.
Oh!
You do it. Right? Hold on to it.
Go down.
We're going to
Ready?
Bring them down.
You got it.
Make them go flat.
You can't
Punch
win
it.
this. Keep going.
Give me that when you drop.
That's good. Make them move. Now, hold on to that first shot a little longer. Hold my head. Wait till I come.
Nice. Heavy on.
One chest to chest, and be heavy on the stay on the toes.
Keep your pressure.
Yeah. Slow it down around the finish. Just like you did. Because you never know what I'm going to do. But if you keep your position, you can always score. I might do this. I might do this. But if you're still here, like you got this.
so you were here, and you
You're going to stop right here. If I go this way, you can just drop in. If I go out, pull it in. When you're in a position. If you were down like this, right here,
Arch yourself.
I can start fighting it, right?
Scoot back just a little bit, Angel, and then roll into it.
When you get that position, just
Exhale,
hold it.
we gotta do this guy.
Make me move. Hey, you can here to here. You want to stay here. Okay, forehead to forehead. Oh, that was the front headlock. That one. Yeah, there it is.
Let it loose.
Why is that loose?
What?
You get it straight out. Everything slows down. You want to
Angel there. Go flat.
see how tight I got?
This is kind of like.
Slow. If I've got that, that doesn't mean that's locking.
So it's gonna be.
There's more going to do now.
That right there is how like all everything should be like whatever you got should be tracking. You know, very good. Nothing else.
Nice.
Good job,
On your toes, you're gonna be out there and very hard to do pressure, but switch your arm. And then
That's it. There you go.
a little bit of shoulder pressure as well.
I think when you do that, it's kind of something you're gonna choose, right?
What's that?
When you, I know, it's something we're gonna shoot or harm.
Because you're making him have to work. Yeah. So now you're controlling, when you're controlling the strength, everything works. And however heavy you get, that's going to determine how hard you got when you're trying to hold it. When he gets tired of it, you'll feel like you're shooting. Right?
More pressure.
Always move your feet. I'll lower it.
Rest.
Yeah, lower it. You don't want to do this. Right?
I have a good. Good.
Right when I make contact.
Heavy on it. You should
I get both? Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, just wait a little. Get that nice like you did. You make it. You wait with those shoes so proud. I finish. Enjoy it.
It's close.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That was good. All the time? In there? Because we don't do a lot of underhooks.
They do.
They do. Fighting here, do the thing. Okay, it's a position of control. And how I do it is I'm waiting here on low, and then I go, see that? Feel wrist control. Ha! Now, the other thing you do is slide. Right? That's why I stay up. Right?
Keep
How easy is that? You put a single on his head. They think they put a single on it. Does that make sense? No. Back in. And so when you're here, you got this, go right to the tricep, and then circle that way. Or the other way, depending on how comfortable you feel. I always feel like, all right. It's just whatever you choose. Not here, get down low.
When you're on top, you have to put it down, especially before you put it in.
This is
Because you're not on the base, you're not going to move.
you get it. You get a lot of people with an underhook, and they're going to try to get an underhook on you. That's what you want. So you got an ankle kick and a knee trap all day long. How come you got an underhook for me?
That's not bad.
You're not thinking about this. Get that underhook, get that underhook.
There's no point to work for that. It's just.
It's almost like you're made of it. Well, it is. I'm here. Do that. Right?
Yeah.
It's a very easy step.
Now patch it to what?
Wrist control. Always try to act like you need wrist control.
Do I get wrist control first?
It doesn't matter.
Like Russian roll.
Yes. Yeah. You like that, don't you?
Yeah,
You got one body.
yeah. So last 4
You see through arms? He's all arms. He hand fights. He doesn't tie out. He's here.
Usually I've done this.
He's moving.
Put your head in the hole.
Very few times when you get locked up here. Because he's athletic. You gotta have space to move.
No, not push it. But you can. You should. Walk up against him. Come over. Last that elbow.
It's so
Yes, and then watch the face. Bring that in the hole, and then that's your hole.
Right here.
Good. Good. Try that one, Josh. Come secure your head.
See, at this distance, we're fighting for hands. Okay?
Yes.
And
Good.
post underhand.
Like this.
You want to do that in one motion? Yeah,
because you'll figure it out.
That's also.
If you're like, I can do that shit out there.